Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. This is incredibly exciting. In 2019, we had our first launch event. You got to hear updates from our speakers. Thank you to CAPS Media for capturing those updates. We're so grateful for their support. 2020, some of our speakers are here from that year as well. That was our COVID year. And those amazing speakers delivered talks to an empty audience of their family, the VEP board. Dr. Rice and Sabrina were there, and it was incredible. All of those talks live online, and so I hope you will find that code and link in your program book tonight when you go home and watch those talks, because they are incredibly inspiring. And it's so fantastic that we are able to bring you Launch this year in person to introduce you to 3 new educators who will dazzle you with stories of classroom innovation. Our hope is that you will leave here inspired, that you will really see where education can take us. So we want to thank our past launch speakers who are in attendance, and hopefully many of them will stay for the meet and greet after the program so that you can talk with them personally. We have some special guests in the audience as well. Council member Doug Halter is here. Thank you, Doug. Our district attorney, Eric Nazarenko, is here. Eric, thank you so much. And from Ventura Unified's Board of Education, we have Amy Callahan, Jerry Dannenberg, and Sabrina Rodriguez. Thank you. It means a lot. We know you're very busy, and it means a lot that you're here with us. And it means a lot to us that all of you are here with us, all of our honored guests and our sponsors. Tonight's sponsors have generously given to support the VEP grant program. Ventura Education Partnership is an all-volunteer organization, and through VEP grants, we provide Ventura Unified educators with the opportunity to earn a $1,000 grant that is only possible with your support. That grant shows a teacher that you believe in them. That grant gives the teacher an opportunity to create something really magical and wonderful for their students that they've been dreaming of. And so we just really want to thank you for making teachers' dreams come true and for making kids' dreams come true. We'd like to recognize a few of our special sponsors. So we want to thank Fast Signs of Ventura, James Forsyth, EJ Harrison, the Narayan family, Very Ventura Gift Shop and Gallery, and State Farm agents Irene Henry and Dina Rogers, Dr. Andre Bobro and Sabrina Rodriguez, the Wolf family, and of course our presenting sponsor, Era Energy. And now I'm going to pass the mic to Amy from Era to welcome you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amy Fonzo, and I work for Era Energy. Thank you so much for coming tonight to support our schools, teachers, and students here in Ventura. VEP's commitment to our local schools is virtually unmatched. It provides a means for companies like Era to fund classroom programs that create student success. The funds we provide focus on programs that spark student interest in STEM subjects, science, technology, engineering, and math, and get students excited about learning. As a company, Era has always been a champion of education. We believe helping students achieve success is one of the best investments we can make to ensure a strong future workforce and sound future for our community. While Era works to power California, we play an active role in building stronger communities where we can, and that starts here with our children. We are incredibly proud of our longtime relationship with VEP and look forward to many, many years to come, partnering with Madhu and the whole volunteer group. So I'm very excited to launch into tonight's program. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. It's an honor to be here representing my colleagues. And I just want to say, one of the things I love about VEP is, to me, it's a tangible way this community shows love to our teachers and our staff. It is a vote of confidence, and it's a badge of honor when you receive a VEP grant. So many of our exciting ideas started because someone had an idea that got that nod from our grants committee, and it blossomed into an amazing program. So thank you for being here to support that. As I look around the room, it was so fun because there are so many Bright Stars, current and former VUSD Bright Stars in this room, that it makes my heart happy to see you all here supporting our district and supporting our community's children. And I just want to say a special thank you to the VEP board. This group of volunteers works tirelessly to support our district and has for almost 30 years. Am I right, Debbie? And you know, without this group of volunteers who commit their time and energy and resources to our schools, our district would not be nearly as wonderful as it is. So thank you for those of you who have supported this program, and to our educators in the room, thank you for continuing to give your heart and soul after 2 very challenging years for all of us. We really respect and appreciate your efforts.
Well, good evening, everybody. I'm Dr. Roger Rice, Superintendent with Ventura Unified, and I want to start this evening by thanking 3 individuals who I know have worked really hard to support our district, and those people are the co-presidents of VEP, Debbie Golden and Kathy Asher. Thank you for all you do every day to support us. I really appreciate it. And secondly, to Madhu Bajaj for all of her leadership and passion around innovation. When I was hired in the district 3 years ago, she came to me and said, "We have this vision about innovation." I'm like, "Son, it's funny you should mention that, so do I." And we've been trying to click on all cylinders to support innovation in our teaching and learning in Ventura Unified, and she's a big, big part of that. So Madhu, thank you for everything that you do. Also, newly appointed board president Rodriguez mentioned that we've had a tough past few years, and and nothing happens without the amazing support of our board. And the fact that 3 out of the 4, and I think all 4 would be here if they could. One of our board members just is not able to be with us this evening for health reasons, but the fact that we have 3 of our board members, I think, goes to how strong the support is of our board for our students, for our teachers, and for the arts. So thank you, board members, for all you do to support Ventura Unified and our teachers and students. So, and then finally, I want to congratulate in advance Joel, Aaron, and Eva for all the work that you've done to be up here this evening. I know, and I've told Madhu this before, that launch is one of my favorite events of the year because it emphasizes 2 things that I really care deeply about. One's community and the other's innovation. And here, as Sabrina mentioned, I look out and see so many amazing people from the community. But when we go back and sit down, what we get to do is we get to sit there and be amazed with this wow factor that's brought to the table by folks like Alex and Elizabeth and the speakers, Kelly, and all of the former winners. And so Joel, Eva, and Aaron, I'm really excited to hear you speak this evening. Go break a leg and make us proud.
At Balboa Middle School, innovation looks like providing sensory input and output that special education students need. Students learn and practice coping skills by recognizing when they need a break and options for feeling expression. VEP-funded sensory mats, tools, games, and physical education equipment help promote social emotional learning while also providing students with opportunities for exercise, fun, and participation with their typically developing peers.
Take a moment and flash back to when you were in elementary school. What do you think of? Are you thinking of a friend? A teacher you liked? One you didn't like? I think of running around the playground every day with my friends, playing handball and tetherball and basketball. Now, how about those awkward middle school years? What do you remember? I remember passing notes with my friends in class. I also remember getting caught passing notes with my friends in class. I think of the track and field where I ran cross country for the first and only time in my life. Now, how about those prime high school years? What are you instantly taken back to? For me, I'm instantly taken back to the soccer field where I practice nearly every day, spending Friday nights with my friends at the football games. Now, I'd venture to say that for most of you, your memories are like mine, and they don't include students with disabilities or take place in a special education setting. I grew up with a younger sibling on the autism spectrum, so I knew that special education existed, I just didn't know where. It wasn't until I joined graduate school that I learned of the different special education programs that schools offer. Most commonly, we hear of mild to moderate or moderate to severe programs, which refer to how significantly a person's disability impacts their daily life and the level of support that they need. It also wasn't until graduate school that I learned of the stereotype of special education classes. Always the portable at the back of the school, out of sight and out of mind. Inclusion hasn't always been the top priority of the educational system. Don't get me wrong, we've definitely made a lot of progress since the days of institutionalizing students with disabilities, but we still have more work to do. So, how do we make a school more inclusive? To me, the obvious answer is that we work towards supporting all students across all settings and all activities. Now, like most teachers do, I got some new students at the start of the school year. I had this vision that my self-contained, moderate to severe special education class would participate with our general education PE classes. The students would all exercise together, they would make friends, everything would be inclusive. Well, that vision hit some bumps in the road real fast. My students were having a tough time self-regulating. This looked like them being restless and running around the classroom or out of the classroom. Some of them were agitated and aggressing towards themselves or towards others and throwing items. Some of them were so tired that they couldn't even focus, and the list goes on. They were being under and overstimulated. On days when we did venture out to the PE classes, I was overwhelmed. How is my student in a wheelchair supposed to walk warm-up laps around the field when their wheels get stuck in the grass? How is my visually impaired student supposed to play basketball when they can't see the ball coming at them or the 20 others being thrown around the court? How is my student who's sensitive to loud sounds supposed to learn the PE dances when the speakers are blasting music across the yard? I didn't know how we were going to make it to PE, let alone participate. In the meantime, we continued to stay in our classroom, exercising to go noodle, which we love, but you can only dance to a song called Cat Party or Snack Attack so many times before participation starts to fade. On our good days when we were self-regulating, days of high energy and good focus, all of the students and adults in the classroom would all dance and sing and play music together. On our tougher days when we weren't doing such a good job self-regulating, days of low energy, low focus, I was lucky if we could get one student to participate. This just wasn't enough. I needed to do better for my students. They deserved better. I needed to teach them how to self-regulate so that we could participate in those inclusive settings, like joining our general education peers in PE, with some accommodations, of course. And then along came the opportunity for me to apply for this VEP grant. It seemed like my shot in the dark at the time. I needed such a wide variety of materials that I was doubtful anybody would see my vision, but someone did. And now, with this VEP grant, we have been able to provide my students with materials and tools to help them learn how to self-regulate. Instead of being restless and running around the classroom or out of it, they're learning how to exert their energy in a positive way with using our stationary bike pedals. When they're feeling agitated, instead of aggressing towards themselves or towards others and throwing items, they're learning how to let their frustration out on our punching bag and use the weighted and heated lap pads to help them feel calm. And on days when they're so tired that they can't focus, they're stretching out on the mats and exploring different sensory items, tiles with different textures and colors. With this grant, we've also been able to develop our physical skills. We're working on our hand-eye coordination skills like tossing and throwing and catching as we use our bean bags and color-coded rings and ball with a Velcro paddle to help us catch. We're building up our endurance as we use our stationary bike pedals and our punching bag. We're strengthening our whole body as we scoot across the floor on our scooter boards. We're also throwing in some other skills like practicing our numbers and our colors, working on left from right, and working on our turn-taking skills. And now because of this grant, we're making it out to PE every single day. We're walking warm-up laps around the blacktop. When we play basketball now, we're actually making some of our shots. And those loud speakers, they're no longer bothering us. We've even started playing soccer with some of our peers with a giant blow-up soccer ball so that my student in a wheelchair can kick the ball and my visually impaired student can feel where the ball's at. We still love our Go Noodle dance breaks, but now they include rotations so that we can continue to practice these self-regulation skills and build our physical strength. So much has been made possible because of this grant. Imagine, if we were able to do all of this with just one grant, imagine what we'll do with the next, and the next. We can better support our students as they push into more inclusive settings like art class and music class. We can build up our sensory room with more tools and materials so that students have endless options to practice their self-regulation and de-escalation techniques. We can provide students with more hands-on and adapted materials so that it doesn't matter if you're in a wheelchair, if you can see, or if you can hear. All students can participate in all activities across all settings. This grant doesn't rely on materials being written into a student's IEP. It doesn't question how much money a teacher has left in their yearly budget. This grant provides students with disabilities with endless opportunities. Because of this grant, we're working towards that inclusive setting. We're fighting that stereotype of the portable at the back of the school, out of sight and out of mind. Well, I'm here to tell you that because of your help, these students are in sight and they're in mind.
At Buena High School, innovation looks like students coming together from band, choir, art, photography, and more to professionally create an album of winter-themed student performances. With a recording studio on campus, funded in part by VEP, students experience the complexities of the recording process and learn valuable skills for working in the music industry. Their final product, a professionally manufactured CD, documents their work and is shared with family, friends, and the community at large.
Good evening. What is an artist without a canvas? Picture a young girl on the beach. She sticks her stubby little finger into the sand and draws a line, draws another line, and draws one more line. It's like Portrait of the Artist as a Young Munchkin. As she creates this self-portrait, she doesn't have too much time to admire her handiwork because before she has a chance to really enjoy what she's created, the cruel, cruel tide sweeps up and erases everything she's done from the sand. All of her work is lost forever. Now, undeterred, our young artist soldiers on, develops into a budding young artist, and every single day, she's creating a miniature masterpiece on the beach. But this Van Gogh, on her way up the artistic world, falls prey to the same problem. Once again, as soon as she finishes, that tide creeps up and, like the world's most evil Etch-a-Sketch, erases everything that she's done. So what does this artist need? This artist needs a canvas. Otherwise, she has no memento, no souvenir, no artifact of her artistry. But let's say instead of a paintbrush that this artist has a different tool at her disposal. Let's say that she has her voice, or her guitar, or her piano, heck, maybe even a tuba. But the same logic applies. As soon as that last chord rings out and that final note fades, her work is lost forever. She, as a musical Monet with her Van Gogh voice, unfortunately falls prey to the same problem. She has no souvenir, no memento, no artifact of her artistry. So what does this artist need? This artist needs a canvas, or, as it were, a recording studio. Now, some of you might be saying to yourself, but Joel, don't kids these days just document everything online anyways with all that social media stuff? Kind of, right? In this era of TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and every other social media platform out there, kids are constantly curating and documenting their lives. The problem, however, is that they're using really crude technology. It's the iPhone in their pocket. It's the audio from a computer monitor. And sometimes, if you listen back, it sounds a little bit like someone singing through Darth Vader's mask, right? Like, oh, say, can you see? And as you guys know, that doesn't give a real clear, vivid depiction of what that student is capable of, right? Almost like trying to look at a painting through a translucent veil. Sure, you can kind of make out some of the shapes and figures and colors, but you're really missing out on the nuances and the fine details that really define the capabilities of this young artist. So, a few years back, the patron saints of Ventura Unified School District, Big Bad Voodoo Daddy, put on a few benefit concerts and raised tens of thousands of dollars in conjunction with the Ventura Education Partnership. I decided to take advantage of the opportunity and applied for a grant to build a recording studio. And as you guys saw on the screen, it's kind of cool, right? Now, what's funny about this is that you have a tendency in education to fall prey to the idea that school has to be trapped within a classroom, right? Those little desks, paper and pencil. But in reality, school should be much more than that. We should be providing our students with authentic learning experiences. Our recording studio has done just that. Now, over the years, when we unfortunately think of the arts programs, they're constantly in danger of being cut, but with some very, very talented teachers at the helm, we can keep them alive, right? Now, with the recording studio, we have the ability to capture our students in a fully unblemished, unvarnished fashion. So when we received the funds, we built the studio. I partnered up with the amazing Kevin Downey, who's the choir director from Buena High School. And over the last 6 years, we have put out 5 albums of student performances, full-length CDs. Kind of impressive, right? And again, as you saw in that video, we've assembled a small army of cables and cords and computers, oh my, right? All the microphones you can possibly think of. But like with anything else, there's always a chance to improve. So even though we have a nice little collection, if anyone has a few extra $1,000 lying around, I wouldn't mind investing in like a Neumann U87 microphone. I figure if it's good enough for the Beatles and Beyonce, it's good enough for Buena High School. Right? Now, with our students, as I said before, they have the opportunity to come into the recording studio. But if you've ever done recording before, or editing, or any other kind of technological dabbling, you know it's not just a matter of pressing a button, doing your 3 minutes, and then calling it a day. It's much more complicated than that. Just like writing an essay, you have a rough draft, and then another rough draft, and then another rough draft. So when our students come into the recording studio, they prepare ahead of time. They make sure they're as ready as possible. And when they go in, inevitably, they'll give the best possible performance. But when they listen back, they have a chance to reflect and to review and to realize, so I did pretty decently on that first verse. I was a little pitchy on the chorus, and the bridge, needs some work. But that coda at the end, I really nailed that. And that gives our kids a very, very empowering experience, because this is them in the process of growing. It's not one and done. It's one, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one, until you have a product that you're fully happy and can share with all the people around you. When our students go back and they revise, and they refine, and they review, and they re-record, the final products are pretty remarkable. We've got some amazingly talented kids. We have musical Monets and Van Gogh voices. And unfortunately, like I said before, oftentimes their artwork is completely lost. They don't have a chance to capture it and to share it. Now, in the spirit of sharing, I think you could probably listen to me blather on for days and days and days. But realistically, it'd be really, really nice if we had, I don't know, like a Buena High School choir student here tonight, maybe, possibly. And if that Buena High School choir student happened to be in the front row and would come on up to the front. So this is the amazing Anna Yenny, an 11th grader at Buena High School. And as you will see momentarily, Anna has a Van Gogh voice.
So the recording studio at Buena High School has really given me an opportunity to get out of my comfort zone and cultivate my creativity. It doesn't feel like winter when the world outside is burning and we're sifting through the cinders of our homes. There's hope among the ruins with our hands in what we're doing. Together we will never be alone. We will rise higher than the flames. We will rise above the ashes all the same. We will rise far beyond these walls. We will rise, we will rise, we will rise. We will rise, we will rise, we will rise. We will rise, we will rise, we will rise above it all.
It's pretty remarkable, right? Young Anna has a Van Gogh voice. And that's something that prior to the recording studio hadn't been captured in all its glory, right? No more singing through Darth Vader's mask. You have a pure, pure canvas ready to capture your artistry, right? Now, as you know, Anna is only one of many, many students in our district. While she's quite possibly the best and most talented singer boy in high school, she's not the only singer. And all of our students deserve a chance to use the technology at their disposal. We have students who are learning to use their voice, who are learning to sing, and they have the same opportunity to study what they've done, to review, to reflect, to revise, to re-record. Ultimately, the beauty of art is that when you say you're finding your voice, it's not just about conjuring melodies and harmonies, it's learning to find who you are, to define your sense of self, your purpose, your place in the world. With this kind of technology, courtesy of the Venter Education Partnership, we help our students find their voices, literally and figuratively. And as you in the audience have a chance to grow up a little bit more, I hope that you all have canvases of your own that you can use to preserve your own voices. As for our students deserve nothing but the best canvases that we can provide. After all, they're only just now beginning to share their voices with the world. Thank you.
Imagine walking into your classroom and being handed binoculars for outdoor exploration. At Elmhurst Elementary, innovation looks like taking students out of the classroom and into nature. Students become citizen scientists through birdwatching. They collect and analyze data in the Learning Garden, funded in part by VEP, which promotes collaboration and integrates subjects such as math, science, and English with technology and the arts.
Just a disclaimer, this is something that petrifies me, so I apologize in advance, but I wanted to be here to thank you for your generous donations, so bear with me. On Fridays, my class goes out bird watching. They become citizen scientists. They take their binoculars and they identify, count, and observe bird behavior. The students have noticed in certain locations, specific birds will hang out. For example, at the bird feeder, we've got white-crowned sparrows on the ground feeding on the seeds. Or if you go towards the playground where the telephone poles are, you see the black phoebes roaming from wire to wire, looking for those insects flying around. We collect this information and we put it into eBird, which is a bird abundance website. If we're not outside in the Learning Garden, if we're not outside bird watching, then we are maybe outdoors in our new Learning Garden, where students are planting or they're observing the life cycle of plants or insects. Thanks to your donation, through your funds, we have been able to benefit directly from it. Not just my classroom, but other classrooms at Elmhurst Elementary, and for students for many years to come. My first grant was called Who's in Your Backyard? And that idea developed when I was invited to Cornell University, and they invited teachers around the nation to come to share their love of birds and to teach STEM education to students back at home. And there we noticed we were so happy and excited, and we wanted to become stewards of these very mundane, underappreciated creatures. To think, we go about our day not realizing the genius of birds until we stop and actually observe them. I wanted to bring this back to my classroom. I wanted to take my 2nd and 3rd grade standards, and I wanted my students to become citizen scientists, environmentalists, bird enthusiasts. At Cornell, they gave me a device, a Swift recorder, which is an acoustics program. And what did my students notice when we listened to the acoustics. It turns it into a spectrogram too. They noticed the sounds and songs of white-crowned sparrows, I mentioned, house finches, California scrub jays, but no owls. They really wanted to know if we had an owl on campus. But the 4 times that we put it out, we found no evidence of these beautiful nighttime birds. So unfortunately, that device got flooded in one of the rarest downpours that we had in California that spring, so we didn't have that device. But through the grant, we were able to purchase bird binoculars, a class set of them, bird field guides, bird feeders, a bird booth camera, and tons of books. We've been in our 4th year of use. With our binoculars and bird field guides, we've been able to walk around campus and identify 27 local birds. So we've also been able to go with Ventura Audubon Society. They've been kind enough with their time to volunteer for our class 2 times before COVID hit to go at the local hotspot, El Camino Park, and we were able to see other birds that don't visit our campus. With our bird feeders, we've got a couple around in our 3rd and 5th grade wing. The students have been playing around with types of seeds, so we look at the diet of these birds. And they've also noticed the adaptation of the bird's beak. For example, they've noticed that the short beaks of the house finches take the seeds. Or they notice the California scrub jays. They come and get the big giant peanuts. They fight with the crows. Or the beaks of the Anna hummingbirds. They come to our nectar and they notice it's long and straw-like. And we have a fantastic device that I think is my students' favorite, which is a bird booth camera. And if you've never, ever heard about it, I recommend you look it up, and if you're a bird enthusiast, try to get one because it's pretty awesome. It's a box that has a GoPro camera inside, and it has a little bowl cup that you can fill any seed you want or a meal. And once a bird lands on it, it motion senses it, and it takes a picture of them. So you get this selfie picture of all different types of birds based on your seeds. So the kids have the best time looking at that. We also try to incorporate STEAM within our lessons. So thanks to Alex Wolf and his STEM Ambassador program, we have had the CNC machines and the 3D printers. With the CNC machines, the students have been able to create a silhouette stamp that they then put onto a painted paper, and they create a beautiful sunset silhouette of the birds that have visited on campus. With the 3D printers, we are hoping at the end of the year that they get to print a bird feeder that gets attached to a water bottle, and they can put a variety of seeds when they take it home, and they can have it during the summer and to continue the love of bird watching. With mathematics, we try to incorporate math too. So we were just recently studying statistics. So we got a giant piece of paper. They had to learn line plots. That's one of their 3rd grade standards. And we were studying our birds that come and visit us, the 27 of them, their height. So they plotted the heights of these birds on this giant chart, and the students came up and analyzed them. So they talked about what is the shortest height of the bird, what is the longest height, and so on. So many, many different analyzations. We also, with our one-to-one computers, we were able to look at the wingspan of birds, and they put it into Google Sheets, into a table, which then they converted it into a chart, which then they love to make it 3D, these bar graphs, and color them and change them up to make it their own. So at the end of the year, then we have one bird that we each study. They create a paragraph about it, and they culminate it into a book that they can also take home and have with them when they're watching, or when they're watching at night. So then it made us think. The kids love to go outdoors. We notice their behaviors are much better, they're more engaged. What else could we do? Well, the next idea came up is when we saw the ivy in the 3rd and 5th grade hallway, we thought this could be a functional space. So we asked our principal, Dina Baychek, is it possible to remove the ivy and try to make learning go outdoors, from books to hands-on learning? So thankfully, thank you to Ventura Unified, we were able to do that, but it was bare bones. So we needed more. We needed more funds. And thank you to the VEP grants. We were able to buy native plants, 3 boxes, vegetable boxes, soil for their boxes, and tools. And the Swift recorder that got damaged, so we got a new one. What we noticed is the reason why we wanted native plants was so that the students understand having a biodiverse garden. And actually, within 2 months of planting the native plants, something happened. They say, if you build it, they will come. Well, within 2 months, we noticed hundreds of caterpillars, black, with red dots on them and fuzzy, were squirming their way in our 3rd and 5th grade hallway. And the students had so many questions. They wondered, where did this come from? What are they called? Why do they cocoon together? And they cocoon together. Why is their cocoon sharp? What are these black things on the ground? And they did their research. They found out that these caterpillars that turn into butterflies were called mourning cloaks. And they're the most beautiful butterflies that are blackish red with white outline, cream outline, and blue iridescent colors on them. And they were coming from the elm tree, which we've never seen before in that hallway. And they eat that. Then they also studied that the reason why they clump up together is because it is a way of adaptation of survival. And why is their cocoon sharp? It is a reason for adaptation for their survival. And the black things on the ground, the kids had a hoot. They were excited. It was caterpillar poop coming from the elm tree and splattered in millions of pieces down on the ground, which was disgusting but very fascinating at the same time. So then we also had garden boxes that we were able to purchase with the VEP grant. We have 3 of them for each of the classes that are there, and students have been able to plant a variety of vegetables. And part of our NGSS standards is to compare the life cycle. So they've been able to compare different types of lettuces, kale, tomatoes, I mean, you name it. We've got all different kinds. And they've been out there doing the hands-on work, and they're enjoying it and loving it. So you may think, what next? If we got another VEP grant, what could we do with our study? Taking them to the Santa Clara River and learning about fowl birds. We don't have fowl birds on campus. That wasn't one of them, of the 27. So going there and learning and comparing the fowl birds out there. Or even having a beautiful mural to make that garden a much more inviting place. Or even possibly, I'm not sure the legality, a bird live camera to share the love of bird watching amongst all the students at our district. So, through your funds, our school was able to create an outdoor learning experience, and it has benefited our students greatly. So I'm here to say thank you for that opportunity and for being able to share that with us. So thank you.
I'm a little speechless. That was pretty incredible. I'd like to invite the 3 speakers to come back out. When I try to explain to people what is launch, I tell them, be prepared, you will get teary-eyed, you will laugh, you will have all the feels, and I was definitely there. I hope you were too. It was just fantastic. You were all amazing. So please let's give them a huge round of applause.